The following is a local resident producer's program. The program content is the sole responsibility of the producer and does not necessarily reflect the views or policies of CATV2, Oshkosh Community Media Services, the City of Oshkosh, or Time Warner Cable.
Welcome to Eye on Oshkosh. Cheryl Hentz here along with Dan Rylance, and very pleased to be joined by a welcomed face once again, former Oshkosh Mayor Frank Towers here tonight, and we appreciate you stepping away from Waterfest duties to be here to talk about a very exciting event that's coming up. We haven't seen you since April.
That's right.
And the election, and sorry about your loss, but you're still very involved in the community and events going on, and that's one of the reasons that you're here tonight. Public Enemies is coming up. The big premiere is in just a couple of weeks from now. It's
July
on July
1st. The big opening.
And there's a whole slate of activities happening before that, and you're kind of the master of ceremonies and ringleader for this whole thing.
I got drafted because at that moment in time I was the mayor, and we had enough inquiries coming into the Convention and Visitors Bureau where people said, "Hey, what are you doing? It's a big thing. What's happening? Are we going to do something special?" I sent an email around, and the group that's together said, "Yeah, let's do something." And Frank, you called the meeting, so from there I just started leading the meetings, but it's very much a group effort. I'm just there to shepherd things along and make sure the event that happens the day before, which is what we're going to talk about, is a good time for here in Oshkosh.
All right. Well, there's a whole ton of stuff, that's going on, and why don't you'd mentioned the day before, which would be June 30th.
Right.
So what's happening on June 30th?
Well, essentially what happened was because we're one of the cities where there was filming that took place, Madison, Milwaukee, and some other cities are similar. Marcus, as well as Universal Studios, is allowing us to do a special advanced screening. So we get to see the movie the day before it comes out, kind of like a Hollywood premiere, if you will.
Yeah.
And what we were able to work with them on is a way for us to make it into a fundraiser as well. Okay. So there's actually two showings that evening. One is coupled with some other things, and another, which we still have tickets for, which is the $30 one. The dollars from that are actually going to be used for donations to help Film Wisconsin and to help the Downtown Facade Program. But backing up earlier in the day, the Chamber of Commerce normally has their Live at Lunch series on Wednesdays. Okay. And what they did is they moved it to that Tuesday before. So really the day kicks off from noon to 1 with Live at Lunch. And there is a special group that's coming that particular day. It's kind of a 30s Ella Fitzgerald tribute group. Okay. And so we thought that was very fitting. So we kind of kicked the day off there with the 30s Live at Lunch that happens. And then at the same time, we're going to have extras that were in the movie, our local extras here in costume around. We've got cars coming in from the period, so we've got some people bringing those vehicles in. And the 404 North Main building, where we've had a lot of filming take place, is going to be open. The museum is going to be in there. And actually, it really kind of kicks off a little bit before with the June 27th, where they're going to have their Era of Public Enemies exhibit that starts. Okay. And actually on the day of, the 30th, throughout the day, they're going to have a shuttle that's going to go from 404 North Main, the bank building, to the museum, and then from the museum over to EAA, where they and the area on the airport, Whitman, where they did some filming, and then back again. So you can kind of take a shuttle and go around. Okay. So that kind of kicks off. And we've even gotten EAA to do a couple of flyovers. Unfortunately, the Ford Tri-Motor is on tour, so they're going to have a biplane or two, weather permitting, of course. It's going to do a flyover at Live at Lunch when it's concluded. So, and then from there, we just really roll into the rest of the day, having some fun activities. All of the storefronts downtown, they're going to be doing the Steals and Deals promotion, and they're going to be decorating their storefronts in 30s type of garb, so that it looks like not unlike it was when the movie was there. So all of the downtown merchants are getting involved. It's just absolutely incredible. And then we roll into, in the evening, there's what if you had a opportunity to purchase at the Leach Amphitheater when they were available, the $75 ticket. They're all sold out, but that's where you'll, at 5:30, come down to 404 North Main, and it's a gathering, and we're going to have people in 404 North Main, and it'll be essentially a social for people to get together and talk about the movie. We're going going to have extras inside there. And one of the really cool things we're doing downstairs, and this will happen starting at Live at Lunch as well, so anyone can take advantage of, as you go into 404 North Main, we have Melody Wollink from Limelight Studios who's going to be doing pictures down in the vault.
Okay.
And fortunately, Atomic Hats, who has vintage clothing, is going to be helping us out as well. So you can go down into the vault area, get your photo taken. We've got some garb, so if you want to put on the overcoat, and I understand we're even going to have a fake, but a Tommy gun, so you can kind of pose there as John Dillinger or whoever you would like, and get your photo in front of the vault. And there's a small charge for that, of course, but again, the dollars go to help Melody pay for the services, but of course then also go down to the downtown facade program. So a whole day of all kinds of fun there on the 30th, and just a great big lead up.
Yeah. Now that one event going on at the 404 North Main, the bank building, that is only with the $75 ticket?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So
right.
people
and those
will,
are sold out.
Yeah, those are sold
So
out.
if you don't have one of those tickets already, you're
Talk to
out
somebody
of
you
luck.
know to see if maybe you can get one. But talking to Eileen over at the foundation, those were sold out about a
How
week
many
ago.
people?
It's about 300.
300, okay.
Well,
About
that's a
300.
good crowd.
Okay.
That's a
Very good crowd.
I also saw something, there's a trading card, gangster trading card collecting that's going to be going on. Do you know about that?
I'm not completely familiar with that, but it's my understanding that's something that's also being done by the folks in the downtown bid,
Right.
where
Okay.
they have the cards that they're going to be trading. So I would definitely talk to Maureen Strauss over at the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce and
Okay.
the Business Improvement District to get more details there, or stop into any one of the stores in downtown Oshkosh when you have a moment, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to fill you in and let you know what's going on.
Okay. And the lesser of the two tickets is still available, $30 a piece, and that does what? That just gets you into the advanced screening?
The advanced screening, that one's
Okay.
going to be at 7 o'clock on the 30th, so that's the 30th. And last I heard, now when this airs in the next few days, definitely call over to the foundation right away
Sure.
to see if there are any left, but last I heard there were some.
Okay.
The one thing that is a little special with the $30 ticket and with the 70 is we have a couple of raffle prizes that if you purchase a ticket, you're automatically entered. In the
Okay.
case of the $30 ticket, EAA has been gracious and they are donating a ride on the Ford Tri-Motor. So
okay.
you're automatically entered, and that drawing will happen right at the movie theater before the movie starts.
Okay.
For the $75 ticket holder, Marcus and Universal came up to the plate, and they're giving away a one-year pass it's a single pass for two people to see movies all year long for free.
Oh, wow.
I'm gunning for that one
That's-
myself. That's a pretty
That's
good
worth
deal.
it
That's
right
a very
there
good
with
deal.
the cost of movies these days, especially. Now, obviously there's going to be more tickets sold than just what would fit in one theater, I'm sure. They've got like 10 or 11 theaters at Marcus. How many are being used for this advanced screening, or is it just one?
It's just two theaters that evening.
Two
There's
of-
going to
two
be
of them, okay.
one that starts at 7 o'clock and one that starts
Okay.
at 7:30, and those are
Okay.
the only two they're doing on that Tuesday the 30th.
Okay.
Now, of course, we get to the next night, which is July 1st.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to be running it on multiple screens,
Yeah.
and I've got a feeling a good portion of Oshkosh, if they weren't there for Tuesday's performance or
Be there.
showing, they're going to be there that next couple of days, because at least from some of the trailers I've seen, you can clearly see the bank building,
Yep.
404 North Main in the shots, so really exciting.
Yeah.
So regular prices start after that?
Yeah, then it's just you buy a ticket online,
Okay.
however you normally would when you want to go see a movie at Marcus.
Go ahead. Dan.
Interesting. The artifacts that are going to be used for this, where are they from and where are they going when it's over?
Well, Universal has said, and we haven't seen them yet, so again, working with the movie theater movie company gets a little bit challenging at times, but it's my understanding they have some movie items that we'll be able to have on display, and then I believe some of them need to be returned to Universal.
Okay.
Anything that may stay in the community may go over to the public museum. Not positive on what may be there, but I think a lot of it will end up going back to Universal.
Yeah, I was fishing on that because it seemed to me there was some talk after the movie was made here that the museum maybe was going to get a lot more than they did. My memory on that is.
Well, and a lot of the
Sure.
items were very temporary, so they
Okay.
got ripped down. And I
Okay.
think where we had right in Opera House Square some of the billboards
Okay.
there was some thought maybe some of that would become available. I'm not positive all what Brad was able to
Yeah, I'm
have
not
over
either.
at the
I just remember it was
museum.
a point of discussion back then.
But really, if you look at the true historical account with John Dillinger and such, and you want to get a flavor for that, definitely starting on the 27th, go over to the Public Museum,
Yeah.
because they're going to have a lot of that 30s John Dillinger and that era over there as part of the Public Enemies that they have going on, that we've got the brochure out here for.
Sure. Well, you know, I mean, not to be a downer here, but some people have said in the paper, I saw one letter in particular where, you know, they were kind of poo-pooing this whole thing, and, you know, we shouldn't be glorifying John Dillinger and this kind of stuff. Yeah, he wasn't a great guy.
No,
but,
not at all.
You know, I mean, but I don't think we're glorifying him. I think we're excited about what's happened with our city.
Oh, I mean,
know,
we have
that's
thousands of
what
people
this is
here
all
downtown,
about.
and
Yeah.
we've the other thing that and it hasn't been printed yet, but working with the Northwestern and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, they're doing a map, and it's essentially like an airport map, a "You Are Here" dot, except this will be this particular scene took place here or here or here. So we're hoping to have those available not only for the 30th when people are downtown, but then have them stocked around, because we're certain that next weekend with Gallery Walk and the fact that they're again going to embrace the idea of the movie, I think they're doing a special art exhibit called Bang, interestingly enough, and so people are going to come downtown and say, well, I want to see where that particular shot took place or where this happened, and with that map you'll be able to be right in that particular spot. So
that's kind of neat.
So
Yeah.
some really neat stuff that will be available.
This dovetails into the July 4th too, in a sense. I mean, this is all going to be kind of together, isn't it?
Well, yeah, essentially what happens when we go into Gallery Walk, that happens then on July 4th, the 404 North Main building will also be open for Gallery Walk, so starting at 6, and the Public Museum is going to have some display items there so that people understand that, hey, we've got the exhibit going on, come over to the Public Museum to see the rest of it. And then it's my understanding that talking to Gail Pansky and some others involved with Gallery Walk along with Art House, that there's going to be, essentially, they're going to embrace that. And the storefronts will still be decorated in that 30s type of style for Gallery Walk. So definitely something that if you're downtown when you see the 4th of July parade, because that happens earlier in the day, and then stay down later for Gallery Walk and more 30s and Public Enemies.
And Sawdust Days follows that then, doesn't it?
Correct.
So, I mean, we're
it's a
talking-
jam-packed day on 4th of July here in Oshkosh.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay.
And then you got the fireworks on top of it all.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, so let's see. There's something else going on, like now through July 3rd, and I'll just mention this unless you have something in particular about it. It's called Oshkosh Meets Hollywood. It's an exhibit of photographs by Jill Thurk and Irv Schrader of, and these are pictures of Johnny Depp greeting fans and kind of the transformation of, boy, that just doesn't want to stand
Well, it's
up,
all
does it?
the wind.
It is.
It's pictures of the transformation of downtown Oshkosh as it did transform into the 30s for the movie and so forth. And those are going to be shown at Planet Perk Cafe, 100C City Center. And again, now through July 3rd. And if you want more information on that, you can call 235-9891.
I had lunch there today and saw the photos there. Most of them are already up. It's,
All right,
it's really,
excellent.
really cool.
And then we talked about the various things going on the 30th, starting with Live at Lunch, and all the way through to the advanced screening in the evening, the Gallery Walk on July 4th. Anything else going on that we need to know about here?
I think we've pretty well covered the day.
All right. Now, what is this that you keep holding up or setting up and it keeps blowing down?
It's just the brochure that the Public Museum, it's about their Public Enemies exhibit that we've talked about. But essentially, it's a history of Hollywood with regard to the Public Enemies and John Dillinger and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, all right. And I see that, of course, like they do with all their exhibits when you drive by the museum, they've got the big signs out front publicizing this event as well. So what has this been like for you? I mean, you were mayor when this started, and you were mayor when it took place, and now as mayor you started getting this thing organized. You're not mayor at the present time, but you're still seeing it through to completion here. What has this whole event been like from start to finish for you?
Well, I think it's been incredible for the community. It really put Oshkosh on the map in a way it previously hadn't been. Talking to Wendy over at the Convention and Visitors Bureau as we're leading into the first, she's had calls from outside of the state, people saying, hey, what are you doing? What's happening for this particular weekend? We might want to come in to be part of the Hollywood magic, as it were. So it's really exciting thing for Oshkosh, and I'm hopeful that we can have more movies that get filmed, whether they be in the downtown or other parts of our community or nearby. We've just got got so many different historic as well as more modern
do.
things that I think would be incredible for us to have the movie industry back here. And it definitely caused an increase in economic development here, because we had people that stayed here for a long period of time. We had an increase in people just working for that period of time. So I would be very, very wanting to see it happen again for us.
Yeah.
I think on a personal note, there's no difference between Frank Tower being mayor and after mayor. There's not an ounce of sore loser in this guy.
No, there isn't.
Seriously, you could have walked off stage,
Yeah.
and he's the same.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think that's a compliment to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really
very
do.
much so.
Yep.
Very gracious. You know, I know that you probably don't know what's going on in some of the other communities where the movie was filmed, because it wasn't all filmed here.
No, no,
You know,
we
part
have-
of it was here, and part of it was done in other parts of Wisconsin, and I think Illinois. There was something done.
There was quite a bit in
Illinois,
Chicago,
too.
is my understanding.
Do you know what any of those communities are doing? Have you been in contact with anyone in those other?
No,
areas?
really not. I know that some of them they're doing their own kind of events like what we're talking about here, but I'm not certain exactly what they're doing, other than they had the same kind of setup we had, where they were allowed by Universal and Marcus to do that special advanced screening the night before.
Okay.
So
All right.
hopefully they're taking full advantage of it like we are here in our community.
Any attempt to contact Johnny Depp or any of the actors or actresses in terms of a comment or an interview that
Or the director.
or the director? that-
They're pretty well sheltered,
Are
so
they? Yeah.
we at least said, hey, might someone come for the day, and you know what's going on and what the possibilities, and it was no, that's
Yeah, that's a tough call.
yes, it
Yeah,
is. Yes, it is.
yeah.
Just like we had some folks saying, well, why can't we now? Granted, at the moment we can't do it, but would there be opportunity to see the movie, say, in downtown? But of course, Marcus wants to be able to, along with Universal, have first crack at it
Sure.
at the movie theater, which we can completely understand.
Well, and at least there it's air conditioned.
Very true. Very true.
Because it's probably going to be very hot.
And no rain or hot.
That's
And
right.
no rain,
You
yes.
don't have to
Yeah.
worry about what the
Yeah.
weather's doing. Okay, so that's all coming up. There's a lot of different things going on, very exciting stuff. Anything else that you want to share with us about what's going on?
Well, as far as Public Enemies and what's happening that weekend,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
All right, good. Well, let's talk about a couple other things.
Sure.
Your name has been up on the blogs a lot lately with respect to, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a reasonable amount
You know she was going there.
Of course.
with respect to the now defunct Mayor's Breakfast and the soon-to-be community breakfast. There's not going to be a breakfast at all this year.
Correct. 2009, there will not be.
And I think that's where some misunderstanding was coming in, because people were saying, hey, we'd like to volunteer. How do we step up to the plate and help put something on this year? Which would have been a great thing to do. But apparently there just wasn't enough time, you guys felt, to put that together.
Right. Yeah. Once we had learned that there was going to be no mayor's breakfast this year, then kind of a group of folks that, similar to you, said, well, we need to make this happen, got together, that I was involved with a couple folks from the committee previously, and essentially said, can we make something happen? And really with the 4 or 5 weeks that were left, given everything we need to organize, because there are the placemat sponsors and getting all the volunteers organized, and we really didn't think it'd be fair to try and throw it together at the last minute if it's going to be the first community breakfast, which is really what the Mayor's Breakfast always was. It's inviting our guests that are in the community from all over the world to kind of get together and sit down for a meal with the people here and understand that differences aren't so different when you start looking across the globe. And so given all of that, we said, let's really make it right and start planning for next year. So we already have the date reserved. It'll be on the July 30th, Friday of EAA, and we're already working with or EAA Air Venture, and we're already working with the folks at EAA, and we'll put it all together. More details coming. But if people want to help and volunteer, what we'll most likely do probably around January of next year, start putting together the core pieces and start putting out the call for if people want to help. We usually get about 100 to 150 really dedicated volunteers, at least the 2 years I was involved with it. And the second year I was involved with it was really a challenge, because that was the year, of course, we didn't have the convention center. So that very much was a question, should we hold the Mayor's Breakfast this year? And I really kind of pushed ahead and said, we need to have it. We need that continuity so that whatever the outcome is for the next mayoral cycle, that we continue that tradition. And so we did it at UW Oshkosh. It was a challenge because we did it in the Golf Sports Center, but we made it happen, and we had people come, and we'll continue doing it. But next year it'll be the 2010 community breakfast, and we'll invite everyone downtown once again to the convention center and have a good time together.
Well, and that'll be a good time to, it is too bad that it couldn't happen this year, because this is the first year that the convention center has been remodeled and is up and running. But, people, if they're not going to see it this year, they'll see it next year.
They'll see it, absolutely.
It'll only be a year old by next year.
We'll make sure they
so.
keep the carpet clean and the walls nicely painted.
There you go. Speaking of carpet, going back to Public Enemies, is there going to be a red carpet for this event that's going to be rolled out at the...
Yes, we will.
All right.
At
Hey,
404
excellent.
North Main, we will have the red carpet rolled out around 5:30 for the people to come, and we're going to have some of the extras line up around the red carpet. And we decided not to bring in some of the photographers and folks from Hollywood to snap photos. We won't be doing, well, maybe we'll do some celebrity interviews. We'll see what happens.
All right. But no red carpet out at the theater itself.
We're still talking to Marcus about the possibility.
All right.
We're very hopeful.
Okay.
Two
All
red
right.
carpets, that would be excellent.
Absolutely.
Back to the community breakfast. We're just jumping back and forth.
Hey, I'll shift as fast as I can.
There was a movie called something like that a number of years ago. I'm dancing as fast as I can.
Yes, there was.
We won't ask you to dance, though, Frank. This breakfast, so you said around January of next year you're going to be looking for people to step up to the plate and help out, cooking and serving and that kind of thing, I'm
Right.
assuming. Do you need any help prior to that with planning or organizing?
No, really, January is when we're going to most
Okay.
likely do that as well, put together the planning. So what we'll most likely do is kind of get that core group together and then say, put out a call, would you like to help serve on the main committee or a subcommittee at the same
Okay.
time we're looking for volunteers for the event, and really start putting things together then. Because January into February is about when you need to start planning it. That's when I had started putting the things together before the outcome of the election in April, and then had kind of handed things over pending what could happen, because knowing it really needs a lot of planning.
Sure. Okay. And so we're hoping then that when January or so rolls around, you'll come back on the show and talk about what
Absolutely.
you need and
Absolutely.
get us whatever press releases you might have or whatever. As far as Public Enemies goes, if people want more information about that, you can go to thenorthwestern.com. I don't even think you have to type in www anymore. You just
Nope.
type in thenorthwestern.com, and there's a whole list of stuff there. You can also go to the Convention and Visitors Bureau's website, ocvb.org, I believe it is.
Actually, it's even simpler now. Visit Oshkosh.com.
All right, that is simple. There we go. And either place will get you all kinds of information. One other thing before we let you run back
Sure.
to Waterfest. You are on the steering committee for a group of people known as Citizens for a Strong Oshkosh. Now, they just held their first meeting the other night, and and we're going to have some folks on about this on a later show. But just briefly, what is this group and what is their mission, if you will?
Well, essentially, it was a group of folks that got together that said we really need to start getting out into the local Oshkosh community and let folks know that much about what happens at the local level, whether you're school board, county board, city council, which I know very well, a lot of the decisions we make really are out of our hands. They're determined by the state.
Yeah.
And so it's essentially at this moment in time a bit of an advocacy group that says, hey, we need to really start this dialogue and discussion and talk about everything. Everything's on the table, from, as the Northwestern commented, the Kettle Commission, to are there more efficient ways to do certain things. And one of the things that we talked about, of course, the other night was what are some potential additional revenue sources, and really wanted to create an environment where we can talk about everything and not be in a situation where it's going to be poo-pooed or people are going to say, well, we can't talk about that. This is really essentially a group we want to say, let's talk about everything, because everything's on the table, and be able to be in an environment where we're not going to be shot down for one particular item or another. And everyone has their ideas, more taxes bad, more revenue, is that more taxes? Are there ways to be more efficient? Are there programs or services that can be curtailed? What is all of that? So we really just started out, and I got involved kind of after the group had been meeting for a while, so I'm sure the others that have been there a little bit longer could give some more information. But it was really, essentially, we need to start letting folks here in Oshkosh know they need to engage their state legislators just as much as they engage the local. It's a lot easier to engage the local. We don't have budget meetings that happen with passage in the middle of the night, but essentially really get on your legislators, because I think there's unfortunately a little bit of apathy, to a lot of apathy there, where people think, well, it happens in Madison, I can't get there. No. You need to engage your legislators.
Well, look at the apathy just on a local level. I mean,
Well, we still got to get out there and get people
I
motivated.
I know. It's
I thought it was a very good informational meeting and a good start. I think there were about 50 plus people there,
Yep.
and it was very congenial, very informative. No tension, no debates. It was just here's where we're at, and
Right.
shared a lot of good stuff.
yeah. So what is the next step then for this group?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting together over the next few weeks, and it's what more things can we do from an advocacy perspective?
Okay.
Are there other groups that we can bring in, like Wisconsin Taxpayers Alliance or other groups? And then really kind of a what do we want to be when we grow up situation, and what can we do to really, again, provide that advocacy and really get out and inform people and say, hey, you need to engage not only your local elected officials, but your state officials, because they really are what determines a lot of what ends up happening at the local level and ties the hands of your local folks. So coming to a council meeting when we say, unfortunately, we can't do anything about that because it was determined at the state, they're frustrated, we're frustrated, so let's direct where we can make some change.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, I've been in touch with John Nichols, who's also kind of
Yep.
spearheading this thing, and he is, going to try and either himself and someone else, or maybe he'll just come up with two other people to come on. But we are going to have a
Wonderful.
future show on this very issue, this group, and what it's endeavoring to do here. So.
Great.
Any final thoughts on anything we've talked about here tonight? So you can go back and finish cooking brats.
Finishing brats at Waterfest. No, just definitely come on out on Tuesday the 30th. Even if you don't have a ticket to the later premiere, go see it the night after on July 1st and come out and be part of Live at Lunch and see all the extras and a little bit of 30s brought back to downtown Oshkosh.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Frank.
Sure.
We
Thanks,
always
Frank.
enjoy
Good to
having
hear
you
you again.
here, and,
You
and
bet.
again, we appreciate your coming away from
bet.
Waterfest to do this. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Thanks very
We're
much.
going to take
You bet.
a very short break. When we come back, Dan and I have something a little different and hopefully a little special planned for you. We'll be right back.
Dear Mom and Dad, well, I finally have some time off, so I'm writing to tell you that I'm doing well. We have good days and bad days over here. We try to remember the good ones and get through the bad ones. Mostly we have each other, and that's what keeps us going. And Mom, since you asked, if anyone wants to help, just tell them to contact the USO. You can't believe how much they do for us. With love, your son, Michael.
Every year, the U.S. Department of the Treasury receives about 1.4 million reports of problems with paper checks. Checks can be lost, stolen, or delayed. If you still receive Social Security payments by paper check, Treasury wants you to know about a safer, more convenient way to get your money. The Direct Express Prepaid Debit MasterCard. The Direct Express card is new and is available to anyone receiving Social Security benefits, even if you don't have a bank account. Your monthly benefits will be automatically placed onto your card account each month on the day your money is due. While other debit cards cost money, it is possible to use the Direct Express card for free to make purchases, pay bills, and get cash at thousands of locations nationwide. There are no sign-up or monthly account fees. No more waiting for the mail or worrying about lost or stolen checks. Call 1-877-212-9991 or visit www.usdirectexpress.com.
We were in an emergency situation. We don't have extra. We have a little bit of water and a little bit of food. A meeting place, no.
No.
I don't think we have a first aid kit.
We have tuna fish, we have
Right.
beans, we have canned tomatoes,
True.
you know.
That's true, but that's really not survival food. Tomato paste.
Yeah, well, yeah.
For regular viewers, Dan's been gone from a couple of shows, and with good reason. Dan has been out of the country. You travel a lot. You're a very avid traveler. I guess that's one of the benefits of being retired.
It is, yeah.
In this time around, and we've talked privately about
Right.
some of your travels, but we've never talked on the show about it. And we had another guest booked for this evening, and there was something fell through the cracks. But anyway, that guest is not here. We're going to try and get her rescheduled for a later date. But Dan was gracious enough to say, hey, I'll talk about my trip. And so he recently got back from Guatemala.
I did.
And so, I think that that's kind of interesting. It's not a place that when someone says, I'm going on vacation or I'm traveling.
Yeah, I'm going to Paris, I'm going to London.
Yeah,
but
going to Australia,
Guatemala?
Yeah, you don't necessarily always hear about Guatemala. So thought it would be interesting to just kind of
sure.
talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
this. So Guatemala is, let's see, it's bordered by, well, you were there, so it's bordered by Belize on one.
Right. Think of it south of Mexico.
Okay.
That's the main part above, and below is El Salvador and Honduras.
Okay.
And then a little bit over on the right on the Atlantic side is just a little piece of Belize.
So it's Central America.
Central America,
Okay.
and all these countries now have a common sort of passport where you don't have to go to borders and show it. They have a kind of a European Union in Central America. So
did they stamp your passport at all when you went through any checkpoints?
it's all auto. Yeah, I got it. But if you're traveling, say, from Guatemala to Honduras, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
You check into one of them, then you're checked into all 5 of them.
Yeah, because I noticed that last year. They didn't stamp my passport at all when I left. When I got into a foreign country or when I came back, they didn't. So it's like, how do they keep track of where you're going? I guess it is all electronic. But you kind of on your passport, you kind of want those stamps.
I think those days of all those stamps are probably gone because they just open it up and they run it through just like an ATM type thing.
Yeah.
So.
I was disappointed with that.
Yeah, it's nice to have.
I like seeing the stamps.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But anyway, so why Guatemala? Had you been there before?
No, I guess the answer is, one answer would be, well, why not Guatemala?
Okay.
But there are more serious reasons.
Yeah.
We've never gone south before. And we thought we were getting too Euro-centered, so we thought we'd go south.
Okay.
Go to Europe all the time. Another reason is same time zones. If you go abroad, either east or west, you got jet lag. One of the really nice things about going to Guatemala, except for daylight savings time, which they're not on, you come back and you're in the same, you don't have a day or two to rest or whatever. I like that. Another reason was a tip. And one of the best travel persons I know is Todd Cummings, who's co-owner of Oblios. Mm-hmm. He's a very quiet, unassuming, he doesn't brag about it. Todd goes all over. And he was at this place, what we'll get into in a minute, in Guatemala. And he said, if you're looking for a place to go, this is a 5-star rating. You got to go to Guatemala. You got to go to Vulcan Lodge. So basically, and he shared a lot of resources, books, articles, photos and stuff. So it was really Todd's, initiative that, we ought to go down and try Guatemala.
Okay.
Prices were right. Tickets out of Chicago to Guatemala City were running $300 round trip. So the price was right. Fit in between Billy's end of spring semester and start of summer school, so we had to pick that time, late May through June 10th or 12th, so it fit that schedule.
So what's the country like? Because if you go on the internet, you can see pictures of Guatemala that show very very beautiful, peaceful, lush beaches, lush other types of scenery. But I'm sure that there are, like any country, some places that are extremely primitive, very archaic, and rather poor.
This is a third world country.
Yeah.
About 14 million people. The size of Guatemala is a little smaller than the state of Louisiana.
And 14 million people.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the largest of those 5 countries we talked about in Central America. Guatemala City is the capital city, probably between 2.5 and 3 million people. I can honestly say that there are as many car repair shops in Guatemala City as there are bars in Wisconsin.
Wow. And why is that? Are there roads and stuff? I guess we're not in good shape to talk about roads
No,
necessarily.
they're terrible and they're very mountainous. It took us 3 hours to go from Guatemala City to Lake Atitlan, where we were staying.
And what's the distance?
60 miles.
And 3 hours
3
to go
hours.
60 miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shift down, shift up, turn curb, stop at this speed bump, another bad road ahead. It's just tremendously hard on transmissions, on brakes, on shocks, on tires, on you can see why there's so many repair shops.
Yeah.
And cars broke down all the time. let alone trucks.
So the roads aren't necessarily in disrepair. It's just that they're, although I'm sure some probably are.
Right.
But it's just a lot of mountainous,
Incredible.
type
Like this,
weaving
down and up.
roads,
You
and
can't go straight.
wow.
Yeah, because it's up like this.
Oh.
It's a poor country. I was interesting that Guatemala gets $3 billion a year in remittances from people who are living in the United States, Guatemalans who have immigrated there. There are about 2 million Guatemalans living in the United States, mainly in Miami, Los Angeles, and New York. They send back $3 billion a year in remittances to their families in Guatemala. That's the single largest source of income for the entire
Wow.
country. So a young man leaves, gets a job in
Yeah.
LA, sends back $100 a month to his parents in Guatemala. 2 kids leave Guatemala, 2 kids send. So it's the largest single asset that they have are these remittances that are sent back to their families.
So if they're here though, and they're sending money back, are they, making the exchange of money before they send it, or are there? I'm sure that there are plenty of exchange places there.
Yeah.
Where this is done. How is that done? Do you know?
Well, they exchange. They get the American dollars, and
Okay,
they
so they're
exchange
exchanging
in-
it down there.
Just like when I go into an ATM machine in Guatemala, I just whip through, and I ask for 1,000 quintales or 500. The ratio is 8 quintales to 1 American dollar.
Okay.
So, but no, it just transfers.
Okay.
That's not a problem. It's about 2 flights, Chicago to Dallas or Chicago to Miami, and then Miami or Chicago or Dallas to Guatemala City.
So you flew into Guatemala City, and then you took. Is it a car, a taxi? Did you rent a car? How did
No,
you
I
get-
didn't rent.
Okay.
We hired a van,
Okay.
$25 a piece, to take us from Guatemala City to Lake Atitlan,
Okay.
which is about a 3-hour drive. Then we get to Lake. I should say something about Lake Atitlan, and maybe you want to pull that up if you would, Mary Helen, on the. We only really went to one. There it is. Lake Atitlan is a volcanic lake surrounded by those 3 volcanoes, which are not active. San Pedro is the one on the right. It's a lake about 25 miles long and maybe 10 or 12 miles wide, and it is 5,000 feet deep.
Wow. That is tremendously deep.
Yeah, the water is black and cold,
Ooh.
and it was created by volcanoes probably 80,000 years ago. But these volcanoes are not active. But this is the lake that we were on, and we were at one place which is on the monitor, Lake Atitlan, and we were at a small Maya village called Jabalito.
Okay, and that's the second
That's
name.
the second. This
thing
lake
you're
is
seeing
surrounded by little Maya villages. And the only means of transportation on this lake is boat. There are no roads. There are very few paths. So you go to one of the main cities or towns on this lake called Panajachel, and you get a boat, and you go to Jabalito. Takes you about 20 minutes by boat, and you pull up at a little dock at Jabalito. You walk about 800 meters straight up the mountain to this lodge where we stayed at, called the Volcano Lodge.
there. Okay.
And that's where we stayed. And we worked out of there, going back on boat either direction around the lake. Volcano Lodge was created or built by a Norwegian couple who came to Guatemala about 15 years ago. It's absolutely gorgeous, 12 or 15 acres of tropical gardens, banana trees, avocado trees, cactuses blooming of all kinds.
Yeah.
And we contracted, we had our own cabana, our own house, and we contracted with 2 meals a day. Actually, the breakfast was free, and then we had a dinner meal. And they could accommodate up to 40 or 50 people. For the most part, we were the only two people there.
Wow. Well, that must be kind of nice. in
Yeah, it
some
was.
respects.
Yeah. We were at the start of the rainy season, which is May through August, September.
The start of what season?
Rainy season.
Rainy season.
Yeah.
Okay. all
Every
right.
afternoon you get a couple. It's like Florida in the afternoon, you get rain. So everything is green, but there is some rain. But the temperature always stays in the 70s.
Year round?
Year round.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only change in the winter is the vegetation dries up because there's no rain, and then it's replenished again every spring. So we were at the beginning of the rainy season.
And what were the accommodations like? I mean, it was, I'm sure, nice.
Incredible. I mean, hot shower, tile floors, warm wool blankets you really didn't need, verandas out in front, you could, and then they had a main place where you go to eat. We usually ate outside underneath sort of a little canopy. And they had native Guatemalan cooks, 3 ladies that rotated cooking, and everything was natural. The strawberries were little and juicy, no hollow like the ones you get from California.
Yeah.
Fresh avocados off the tree. The vegetables were to die for. And the main course meal was always a puree soup, a big salad. A main course could be fish, could be pork, could be chicken, and then 3 vegetables with the main course. And then a dessert of a sorbet or a homemade ice cream that they made.
Okay.
Then in the days ahead, if you didn't eat all the broccoli, you didn't eat all the cauliflower, they would reuse that and they would puree that, and that would be your soup for the next day.
So you're going to get it one way or the other.
You get it one way there. I tell you, their puree soups are incredible.
Really?
Yeah, and they got a chicken base and cream and a lot of seasoning, but everything is, make their own bread, kind of a whole wheat grain bread that they make right there. You got a locker full of wine or beer if you want. Or Billy Joe really liked hibiscus tea cold, like a cranberry color to it. And we're trying to find hibiscus tea. We haven't been able to find any
Probably
since
tough to find here in the States.
So that was good.
So, well, a lot of places nowadays, especially in this country, take into account if you have special dietary needs. A lot of people have allergies to nuts. A lot of people have seafood allergies. A lot of people are vegans, and they want only vegetarian meals. So do they, when you make these reservations or when you get there, do they ask if you have dietary needs or preferences, or do they not take this into account there?
Once you got there, you could tell them what you want.
Okay.
Right. They normally had dinner at 6:30. We said we'd like dinner around 4:30. No problem. What kind of soup would you like, or what kind of something would you like? We'd like this rather than this. So if you wanted strictly vegetarian, that's easy. Like 4 of the 5 courses every night were vegetarian. So just forget the meat or whatever. So no problem at all.
So no real menu necessarily to order off of.
Well, they had
or was there?
If you walked in off, not the street, walked in off the lake,
Yeah.
They had a menu. And the deal is that if you wanted, let's say we wanted to bring this group, and you had to let them know by 3 o'clock how many people were coming.
All right.
So they would prepare for that. But then they would pick the main dinner, whatever it would be. You could go lunch. They had a lunch menu you could pick off of. And breakfast was free. I had homemade granola, homemade yogurt, and slices of banana every morning with real orange juice and a cup of coffee. They're just wonderful.
So you got spoiled, and now you're back here, and are you trying to replicate these meals now that you're...
Well, we are doing a little, in fact, we got a roasted chicken that I think probably what's left of it is boiling to get the chicken broth, because clearly the base of all of these puree soups is at least a cup of chicken broth. And of course cream does anything to soup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, well, it sounds like you would definitely go back. What kinds of things did you do during the day? I'm sure you took in sights and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to remember now that you got to walk down to the dock, and there's a boat going either left or right every half hour. And these boats are like 14 feet long, about 30 passengers. They have no life jackets. When they fill up with 30 people, you're about this high off the water.
Wow. And
they have a top on it where they store their food, because these people are totally dependent on those boats to haul in their food.
Yeah.
So, it's a little scary. One guy told me, he said, the boat could go over. If it does, he said, you jump far away from the boat as far as you can go. He said, because these people cannot swim, and they will hang on to you, and they will drown you.
Wow.
If you can swim, get away from the boat.
Did you and your wife find that a little disconcerting to hear, or no?
Yeah.
You guys are pretty flexible.
But it was a nice guy to tell us that. He said one did capsize last October, and a couple people did die. But so just a reality that okay, well, if it does go over, and the lake gets more rough as the day goes along. That's one thing we noticed. if we made a trip in the morning and got back by 1 or 2, we're okay. Boy, if we left one of those towns at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we're really hitting waves. Those boats are really getting punished.
Now, what causes that? Is it because showers move in every day?
No,
or-
it's a wind that just comes
Okay.
off the lake from going from, I think, west to east. There's a name for it, I don't remember. But in the guidebooks say, you know, the lake does get rough in the
Yeah.
afternoons, and it does.
Yeah, because I know, like when I lived out west, you know, in Colorado, every afternoon, for the most part, you'd get these Chinook winds coming out of the mountains,
Right.
and they would quite often bring a little brief afternoon shower, like what you were
You
mentioning.
didn't really
so-
feel it on land, but of course you were kind of hidden and stuff. But boy, the lake did get rougher as the day went along.
Interesting. Anything that was I guess, you know, kind of a standout experience, something that was significant?
Yeah, I think the Maya village of San Juan probably, and we visited a ladies' textile cooperative. Now you got to remember that Guatemala is really known for its textiles, and we spent a few hours going around. There are 4 or 5 houses, and these ladies produce their own textiles. And this is just a napkin set. All of these colors come from vegetables.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
They dye their yarn. I can't tell you. And then I brought this. You know what the orange is in this thing here?
Does that also come from vegetables?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
It's carrot juice.
Wow.
This is coffee. This is avocado.
Okay. What is?
I don't know what the blue is. Everyone asks me, what's the blue? And I don't know. Maybe eggplant, although I'm not sure on that.
So did you see them making any of this?
No, they weren't making that day, but we got to saw some of the dyes. And they have like 4 or 5 rooms full of their, and all the prices are at the same of each one, and it all goes into this women's cooperative. And they advertise as one group. Now, I don't know whether we can show you, maybe Mary Helen can go over to the, this is a serape that probably is the thing that, this is full length. It's kind of I'd say a light coat. The sides are open, so I mean you couldn't just wear that with nothing, but you'd throw it over like a poncho.
Okay.
And they're called serape, S-E-R-A-P-E.
Okay.
And the colors there, you can see the kind of the beautiful blues and the greens.
Yeah.
The greens are again primarily squeezed avocado.
So everything then, for the most part, that they make from a textile standpoint it's coming from these vegetables.
And they're very environmentally conscious, and it's very, very important that you know that. They bill themselves as all of these dyes are natural.
And so now, if we can just go back to that serape for a minute, you know, who would wear something like this? Can anyone wear this?
Sure.
Okay.
You know what it looks like? I mean, my Catholic days are showing, but it looks like the key vestment that a
yeah.
priest has. You know,
Yeah.
You throw it over your head, and it goes all the way back and all the
Yeah.
way in front, and it's open on the sides, and your
Yeah.
arms go underneath, and you can, you know. Well, it's Village Joe bought it to wear, so I'll stay tuned. She's thinking of making a variety-colored green slacks, taking 3 or 4 of the colors and making a multi-color. But she hasn't done that yet. But she will. She's a good seamstress, so that's her plan anyway. But it's too hot, obviously, to wear right now.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's cotton. It's not, you know, like wool. It's not real warm.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's too warm to wear in the summertime.
Well, I mean, the colors are they're so brilliant. I'm especially noticing the brilliancy in,
yeah.
those napkins.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look at this and, I mean, it's almost hard to fathom that all of these colors came from some kind of vegetable.
Right. Now here are some other swatches I've just picked up.
Wow, look at the pinks. Now what would...
I have no idea, Cheryl.
Huh.
No idea. Here's that avocado again, I think. I don't know what the pinks are.
And they're so, I mean, just so intrinsic.
Yeah.
You know, the way they're done, they're very tightly woven.
Mm-hmm. They have, you know, if you go in there, they have, you know, they put the yarn on and they're pulling them down and you know, how they weave. It's not a linear sort of thing. It's vertical. I mean, and they're not real big. You know, they sew them together. But these ladies are just, and they're new in the sense that they've formed this cooperative, and they're, the price, we paid $25 for the
$25
serape.
for the serape?
Yeah, it's almost stealing. Their prices are all the same. You can't haggle with them, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I would feel that would really be impolite. But the prices are the same, and they pool their money. They're trying to expand, trying to market. But this is a really isolated. I mean, this is not a lake where you can drive up in a car and visit these 7 or 8 Maya villages because there are no roads. It's all boat.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how little Spanish was spoken. You think of Guatemala as a country that was, colonized by Spain in the 1600s or 1500s, and the Maya dialect in the villages we were at was pretty strong. If you're under 25, you spoke Spanish. If you're older, 25 or 30, particularly older people, they don't speak any Spanish at all.
So how did you and your wife communicate with these folks?
Well, first of all, we didn't have to communicate with a lot of people other than, the people at the lodge and in the larger towns where there were street people that speak all languages to get your money. Yeah. It was difficult. There are a few common words. You can always talk with your eyes and your hands. It's not like, be gracious and be friendly. The women are kind of shy. You walk by them in the morning and say buenos dias or bon dia or something. They tend to put their head down. They don't want to, particularly if a male would say something to them. If a female, you might get more response from them. The kids, they just love it. It doesn't matter at all. Yeah. And the men generally tend to. There were 4 evangelical churches in Jabalito. Played this awful music 2 or 3 nights a week. I mean, it was, I can't describe it. I think they had electric piano, maybe electric guitar. And evangelicalism is really fighting Catholicism for control of the majority of people in Guatemala. And the appeal to evangelicalism is to stop alcoholism among husbands, to stop abuse of women. And they really preach that. And it has a lot of support among the women in Guatemala because of that.
Wow. So a very religious-based country then?
Well, of course, one of the old Catholic countries in America, of course. But and the Catholics are responding by having evangelical Roman Catholic churches with the same awful music.
Well, okay, so you didn't like the music, you loved the food, you love the textiles. Anything else that was really kind of outstanding about the trip?
The people.
Yeah.
They're so humble and friendly in their own way, and curious, not in an overly way, but I like kids. We went to the school. I think about 600 kids went to this school. A lot of large families. Yeah. Javier, who was one of the gardeners, has 12 brothers. I said, Javier, your mother's going to heaven. I mean, 12 brothers.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Kids start off 1st grade, they go to 1st grade, they go to 2nd grade, 3rd grade they drop off, 4th grade. So by the time you get to 6th grade, there may be 10 girls that started with 300. And why don't they go to school? Because they can make any money. See, everything that comes to every one of those little villages has got to be carried. They have straps over their forehead, and they walk like this with and they have to carry everything. So if a young kid can make, a few dollars per day, hauling stuff from the boat up to the store or up to a home or something, he would rather do that than go to school. So the dropout rate among kids, at least in the Maya villages, is extremely
Pretty high.
Yeah.
From a safety standpoint, I think that's one of the things that deters a lot of people from traveling to many foreign countries, in particular third world nations like this is because there's so much unknown in the first place, and then you hear about things happening, not that things can't happen and don't happen here in the U.S., but you hear about stuff happening in more underdeveloped nations. Sure. What was the safety like there? Did you feel safe?
I would not have liked to have been in a bar in Guatemala City at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. It's a dangerous place. the Vulcan Lodge with no other people there. 15 acres of beautiful tropical things and 3 or 4 people, no problem. We only traveled during the day on the boat. We did not, well, the boat quits at 7 o'clock at night, so unless you wanted to spend the night in another town,
Yeah.
you got back to where you're at. Street people kids come up, I'm hungry, what do you got? And you just, they're pushy, they know you're rich, or richer than they are,
Yeah.
and they want, but if you treat people fairly, I didn't see any real violence of any sort.
Yeah.
Kept my money in places where you couldn't pick it. Didn't carry a lot of money on me. But those are just normal. You could do that in parts of Milwaukee or South Chicago, right?
That's true.
You might
Yep.
do it in a street in Oshkosh.
Yeah.
So those are just common sense things.
Yeah, sure.
I think as you get older, you get a little more wiser and less street cocky. You're not looking for anything.
Yeah.
you
But you become more streetwise.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
You really do.
I was amazed at the young people that we met. A young man from Denmark with a girlfriend from New Zealand. They were going to Bogota, Colombia. They wanted to be there by August. Little backpacks. They had very little money. Couldn't afford to stay where we were at, and they went on. But ran into a guy from Ottawa. He was in a Buddhist meditation seminar for 4 months in another village, writing a book on his experiences. A lot of holistic spirituality type things. Young people involved in that sort of thing from different countries. I thought that I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. So not to get personal about the
Sure.
expense, but approximately how much could someone go there for and experience the same kind of accommodations that you did?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the airfare per person was $335 round trip from Chicago.
Yeah. And that's going to vary.
Yeah. That's a great price.
Yeah.
We got by for the both of us for $80 a day.
That's very good. That's very, very good.
Yeah. That's room and the big dinner and some refreshments, some beer and wine. So.
And it doesn't sound like the artifacts and the the place settings and the serape and so forth that you picked up. It doesn't sound like that cost that much money either.
No, not at all.
How do you know? Just real quickly, because we're almost out of time. But
Sure.
how do you know that you don't kind of bargain with or haggle with these people in the price? Because it's different wherever you go. You go to Mexico, and that's the thing. You
First
go
of all,
back and forth on the price.
this isn't a street market.
Yeah.
These are little homes.
Okay.
And I have the card from the Women's Cooperative Textile Group. I'm not going in there to haggle. I'm going in there to thank them and to look at what they have and to ask them about what they're doing and to buy something because I'm there and they're there to sell it. The thought never enters my mind.
Well, and the fact that it's not a street market like you
No.
see so much in Mexico.
Oh, a street market.
that makes a difference.
Guatemala, it's hey, how much? 120? I'll give you 60. Oh, I'm gonna have 70. No, 65.
Yeah.
And you walk away. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
You know how that is.
Oh, very well. I've gotten some very good deals that way in other countries.
But not in the Women's Cooperative. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, this was fun, Dan. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Glad
and
to
I know
share.
you're going on another trip real soon.
Yes,
so,
I'm going to.
You won't be here at that point.
I'm
but,
going to Sweden to see my married daughter and her family.
And maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk about that trip.
That would be very different. But yes, thanks for asking me to do this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Until then, take good care. Keep your eye on us. We've got our eye on Oshkosh.